979 The Box. Good Sunday morning to you. It is your girl, Nate. Conversations is going down. And hey, I cannot believe that the year is almost over already. You know, since the beginning of 2011, I've been like, hey, y'all, you know what? Start new, you know, inspire, inform, get yourself educated, and most importantly, get yourself involved. And you can change it. We've been working on so many different leads, as I like to call them, you know, getting yourself better financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, all of that throughout the year. And y'all know that one of the subjects near and dear to my heart, finances, living right, being able to live the life of your dreams and afford it and not living above your means, you know. And if you're getting some issues, you know, we had everybody on from Susie Orman throughout the year just talking about getting your money right so that you can do what you got to do. Well, this past Wednesday night, I was honored to be a part of an event over at the University of Houston. Go Cougs, my alumni, alma mater. And it was put on by the NAACP University of Houston chapter, which was really cool for me because it brought me back around full circle. I was vice president of the U of H NAACP chapter back in the day, Lord Jesus. Yeah, I'm telling y'all my business. About 2001. And they had this event, and it was called Be There or Be Broke, you know. And I love the fact that, you know, the kids, first of all, they're still doing so many good things and positive things there, but they had a panel of financial experts to give advice on how to get your money right before it goes wrong, and so that we can learn from some of the things or mishaps, missteps that they might have taken along the way. So I met a brother that was good with his money, has a book, the whole nine. Too bad he married, but you know, I said I'm gonna have him on the show anyway because, you know, he was spitting some knowledge out there, and I really, really appreciate it. And I think that we can all learn something from Mr. Lonnie Matthews. Good morning.
Good morning, Nate. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you for coming. I was like, after the event, I was like, hey man, you know what you doing? You want to come up on Friday? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the whole situation. All right. The name of the book is called Spend Everything: An Inspirational Guide to Money Management. Is by Lonnie R. Matthews, and of course the website is
LonnieMatthews.com.
Right, and that's with one T, y'all. So you can get the book there. But what I like so much about Mr. Matthews is that, you know, he had a common sense approach, everyday language conversation about some of the money mistakes that you made, you know, throughout the years, absolutely. And some of the different, you know, analogies that you use now. Like we'll get into this thing that he calls the iceberg analogy, which I said I'm going to steal. So if y'all hear me say it again later, if you remember it was from Mr. Matthews, that's cool. If you don't, just act like, you know, I just came up with it and I'm brilliant. All right. So what made you, you know, decide, hey, I want to write this book and I want to talk to the world about money management?
Well, it all started with me having my own personal financial issues over the years.
Now, when you say issues, you just talking about a little bad credit here and there.
Oh yeah, definitely bad credit, dumb decisions. You know, when I speak and I'm so passionate about it, sometimes it comes across that I'm arrogant. So I always preference people when I say that. It may seem like I have strong opinions about these things, and the reason I have strong opinions about these things is not because I read it somewhere, it's because I lived it. If it was a dumb thing to do with money, chances are I've done it. So when I say it's not going to work, it's not because I'm being arrogant. It just didn't work for me, and I don't see how it's going to work for anybody else.
Okay, so you said you made some dumb decisions with money. Talking to Mr. Lonnie Matthews, author of the book Spend Everything: An Inspirational Guide to Money Management. What was one of the things that, you know, I hate to say the dumbest, but since you said the dumbest thing, what was one of the dumbest things you did?
Well, one of the things I look back on and regret doing.
And just say, Lord, what was I thinking?
Very vividly, I first gotten into the military, and you know, I was in California, so you kind of need a car in California. Everything is just kind of spread out, and so there I was on base and just kind of saving my money. I wanted a car so bad. I was desperate. So I got to ride out to the car dealership. And long story short, they told me, well, you need a few more dollars to put down because of, you know, your credit history. I had some money saved. So what I did was I went to the credit union, borrowed money to put with the money that I had to use as a down payment. Right. Now, your listeners are probably saying, well, what's wrong with that?
That makes sense, right? You needed the money, you needed a car.
Not really. You don't borrow money to borrow more money.
So you had on two loans on one car.
2 loans on one car. Ended up paying way more than the car was worth in the first place. And that was just my first mistake of many when it comes to money.
What kind of car was it?
Oh, it wasn't even a fancy car. It was like an 81 Chevy Citation.
But you thought you was fly. Couldn't tell you nothing.
You couldn't tell me nothing.
Couldn't tell you nothing. All right. So when did it finally click to you that you were like, okay, where was rock bottom? And you had to say, I need help. Something is going on.
I'll tell you when rock bottom, and I mentioned it in my book. after getting out of the military, I graduated college, and I had a degree in finance, no less.
Oh, that is funny.
Right,
yeah, of course.
There's a lot of irony in this whole story.
Irony, huh?
My life is just one ironic event after another. So there I was. I had a degree in finance. I moved to Houston. I was a financial planner, helping people with their personal finances.
Oh, that's funny.
And my wife and I, we both had a nice salary, probably about $160,000 a year between the two of us, both college graduates. But again, I always tell people it's not the amount of money you make, it's the knowledge that you have, because in 2001, we were 2 months behind on our house payment.
But y'all was bringing in $160,000 a year. So what was it? Like, okay, so you got a finance degree, you're a financial planner, you're helping other people with their finances on a daily basis. This is what you're doing for 8 hours plus.
Yes.
Why wasn't that working in your house?
Because we were typical people. We felt like if we can make the payments, we can afford it. And we felt like, well, what's wrong with this as long as I can make the payments? Right. But it got to a point where we weren't able to make the payments because I was a commissions financial planner. And then once the market dropped and my commissions check weren't the same, then that's when you realize, well, maybe I can't afford all this stuff. As long as we were making payments, we were thinking we can afford it. Right. And you got to get out of this payment mentality, this monthly payment. Stop saying how much per month and just ask how much.
How much is it?
How much?
All right, we are talking to Lonnie R. Matthews. The book is called Spend Everything, an Inspirational Guide to Money Management. You can get the book at LonnieMatthews.com, and that is with one T. So y'all make sure y'all check that book out there. So you hit rock bottom, and then what? Did you have the conversation with the wifey? How did y'all clean yourself up?
Oh yeah, we had to have that conversation. I say we because I'm the one doing all the check writing and managing things, because I'm figuring like, I got a degree in finance. This is my area.
That's what you supposed to bring that. You supposed to bring that to the team. Right, like what had happened was, I've been like, boo, you messed up.
Oh yeah, trust me. I was at home during the day crying like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then MasterCard, Visa calling. All these people that you have relationships with, you think they're your friend.
They don't like you. They want your money.
They turned on me. So
they turned on you, or they wanted their money.
They wanted their money.
Okay.
It wasn't anybody's fault. So I had to finally fess up to my wife and that I had messed up. And so I decided to start learning about personal finances and where I went wrong. So I started reading different authors and realizing that I got to get out of the mindset that I was in, which is the monthly payments that I like to call the poverty mindset, and get into the wealth building mindset. And that's kind of what happened.
That's what happened. What is the difference between, I know you have all the tips in your book, but just give us a couple quips on the differences between the poverty mindset and the wealth building mindset.
Poverty mindset, I would say, is living for the moment. And the wealth building mindset is looking forward to tomorrow and positioning yourself to be successful tomorrow and the day after, as opposed to I'm in the moment right now. Right. And survival mode in a lot of cases.
Right. And if you're always in survival mode, you're never in planning mode, because you're still just trying to survive.
Just trying to survive.
You gotta be trying to make it.
Just trying to make it.
Okay, trying to get by. All right. I just wanted to throw some talib in there, right? I was about to. Yeah, that's about as good as the singing gets there. All right. You're tuned into Conversations with your girl Nate right here on 979 The Box. In the studio with me right now, we have guest author Lonnie R. Matthews. The book is called Spend Everything, an Inspirational Guide to Money Management. We met at a University of Houston program this past Wednesday, put on by the University of Houston chapter of the NAACP. It was called Be There or Be Broke. And I love that, first of all, that there were students in there that was concerned about their money. I would say, you know what, everybody got their thing. My thing is, luckily, is money. Right. I struggled with some other physically. After I got out of high school, it all just went down. But I'm still fighting that fight. But the money thing, I get. And one of the things that I know that I think we as a people, especially in Western society, deal with is living for the Joneses. Our next door neighbors, our people at work, or what are people going to think about me? How are they going to treat me if I'm wearing the certain name brands, this and that? And for some reason, I have never really been worried about that. And I think it's because I always felt like, my mom would give me that, the little budget of, okay, we're going back to school shopping. So you got this, let's just play with $100. You got $100. So I'd be like, well, I can get either one pair of jeans, or if I go over here and get a couple that look cute, I was just never really concerned with brand names. Luckily for me, fortunately, but that's how I was raised. And then even, after I graduated from college and getting into radio and everything, I drove my college car for 10 years. It finally, the silver bullet, the Honda Civic.
Let's have a moment.
Let's have a moment.
The silver bullet.
June 3rd of 2011. Oh, the transmission finish it, and I'm still holding on to it. I'm hoarding my car right now because I want my baby. But you know, I always had people like, oh, you can't be in the tape from a box rolling around in that Civic. I'm like, shoot, I don't know about y'all, but my Honda been good to me.
Exactly.
Don't let me start testifying. But you know, people get caught in that trap, and it's easy to. It's been times, you know, sometimes I'm like, ooh, I don't, you know, everybody rolling up in them BMWs and them Benzes, and I was in my Civic at the time, like, you know, we good. What we got is good.
Right.
So how do people kind of deal with that?
You know, first thing you got to understand and realize that, you know, you can't try to keep up with the Joneses because the Joneses are broke, first of all.
Okay.
And, you know, this is a statistic that says that 7 out of 10 individuals are living from paycheck to paycheck. Oof. So if you look at your house,
cold world,
the street that you live on, count 7 houses, and chances are 7 out of 10 of them living from paycheck to paycheck, which includes the Joneses.
Wow.
So I'm like you. I just kind of gave up on that whole notion of trying to impress people. And I want to build wealth that, you know, below the surface that people don't necessarily see.
Right, and I love that you said that. That reminds me of the iceberg theory that we talked about, that I learned about from Mr. Matthews on Wednesday night at the University of Houston. And when you said you want to build wealth, the things that people cannot see. Now, break down that theory that you have, the iceberg theory, for everybody.
The iceberg principle is what I call it. And it basically came about because I'm one of those people, I don't sleep. It's hard for me to turn my brain off. So I'm up one night, and I'm looking at the Discovery Channel. They did a thing on the icebergs. And they were talking about how icebergs, you only see like 1/7 of the iceberg above the surface of the water, and the other 6/7 is below the surface. And nobody really knows how deep it is because it's too cold to go down there. So I'm thinking, wow, I could use that. So I started thinking about how that relates to personal finance. And here's what I tell people. You want to build wealth below the surface of the water. In other words, build wealth in things that people don't necessarily see. Having a paid for house, driving a paid for car, or having a savings account, a 401k that's built up, as opposed to, and those are all the things below the surface of the water. Just looking at me, you wouldn't know anything about that part of my life.
Right.
But then the above the surface things that people see, that's the car that I drive, the clothes that I wear, the watches and the jewelry. You know, all this stuff is great. But when you focus too much on the above the surface things and you have nothing underneath, then I say that you're not an iceberg, you're an ice cube. And ice cubes, you know, if they sit in water too long, then they melt.
That's right.
So the car just gets older every year. So you have a depreciating asset, just gets older. The watch just gets older, it gets a year older, and it's not worth as much. So, you know, I just focus on the things that people don't see.
Yep, and you have to have a good, you know, strong sense of self about you. And it's hard. It's really hard because it's hard. Because, you know, I had those moments, you know, then where I was like, well, maybe I should do this or that. And then I'm like, okay, just, you know, stay the course. And I made my mistakes and everything through there. But I love that because you can imagine a huge iceberg and you're like, yo, you know, I want my stuff below the surface. I'm popping above the surface. You know, I'm cool. I'm cool, but below the surface,
it's solid.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's talking to kids talk. All right, look, we're talking to Lonnie Matthews right now. The book is called Spend Everything, an inspirational guide to money management. So there are a lot of different life lessons in here from your life.
Sure, absolutely. Everything in there is basically personal experience.
Personal experience. All right. So where can I get the book again? Spell out the website.
You can get it at LonnieMatthews.com or SpendEverythingTheBook.com.
Oh, cool.
I have a separate website for that. Or Amazon.com, you know, Borders, any of the major ones. But just buy it from me. That way I can sign it and send it to you personally.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, if you go to my website or SpendEverythingTheBook.com, I will personally sign it and send it to you.
Cool. It's Lonnie R. Matthews. The website is LonnieMatthews.com. That's LonnieMatthews.com. And of course, we'll link up all the information so they can hear, you know, if y'all missed it, y'all missed the iceberg principle. You need to share that story with a friend. Just log on to theboxhouston.com and we'll have it all there too.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom for all the mess ups you made that you learned from.
Learn from me, people.
All right.
Don't do what I did.
Okay. You know, we all got some issues and some mistakes here and there. So thank you for the knowledge, and we are going to make sure that we have our money management right.
Well, thanks for having me. I certainly appreciate it.
No problem, y'all. It's Conversations. Your girl, Nate, 979 The Box.